run the hybrid training gym FitWorks located in DeKalb, Illinois. When did salt become the bad guy? Who put badges on people and made them the salt police? Why are we looking at municipalities, cities, states, local governments mandating the amount of sodium in a food item on a menu be disclosed? I mean, come on, really. First of all, salt isn't the issue. If you have heart disease, we should be addressing heart disease, not cutting back on the salt. I'm not even going to get into a discussion about the fact that salt's not causing the heart disease, and that, in fairness, in some instances, in some cases, it can make heart disease worse, but salt's not the problem. Heart disease is the problem. If you want to take care of the real issue, we need to have honest discussions about heart disease. And that includes telling people you need to be active, telling people they need to make better food choices, and they need to do that with some level of consistency. But disclosing salt in a meal is not going to make that happen. Let me give you a couple examples. Today in my training department meeting, yes, I employ a group of trainers. Yes, we actually have a department meeting on a weekly basis. We're discussing nicotine in cigarette smoking. And I mentioned a little known or little discussed fact, and that's this. Back at the turn of the last century, so we went from 1800 to 1900, majority of the tobacco users used smokeless tobacco. So what we refer to as dip, snuff, chewing tobacco, things of that nature. Then we discovered germs. As we discovered germs, we passed at municipal levels, local levels, city levels, laws against spitting in public. Guess what happened? We didn't have people use less tobacco. They switched to smoking tobacco, and we never addressed the real issue, which is an addiction to nicotine. So the idea that we can regulate, we can police salt, we can force upon businesses, restaurants, etc., that they disclose salt. I'm not necessarily against that. Back when I was a fat kid trying to lose weight, fitting in those pants, I wanted to know what was in the food I was eating in restaurants. And it's good that we're starting to see some of that. But to think that mandating and forcing that on restaurateurs, whether it's chains, mom or pop restaurants, thinking that's going to fix heart disease is crazy. Just like mandating you can't spit in public, all it did was shift the public from using smokeless tobacco to using smoking tobacco. And today we're looking at now you can't smoke, and we've shifted to other forms of nicotine use, and we haven't addressed the real issue, which is really the nicotine use. Another example where we've got the food police involved. Back in 2006, maybe 2005, 06, 07, we started to see school districts banning soda pop, banning what we call in the Midwest pop, from schools. In its place, they put what? 100% juice drinks, which has just as much sugar as the pop. So we didn't actually address the issue of childhood obesity. In fact, today, less schools have soda pop in their vending machines than they did 10 years ago, yet we have an escalating number of our youth that are obese. So again, policing the food is not going to fix the issue. What does? An intelligent approach to nutrition, a balanced approach to nutrition, and our definition of balance isn't what you're going to get fed by the food police or by the dietitians or nutrition community, but a balanced approach to nutrition, and yes, activity is required. You're not going to get around it. Which brings me to my next point. You can't discount time. Things don't happen overnight. If you're looking for health, wellness, and weight loss, the one thing that most people fixate on is vanity. They want to see the weight loss. For women, it's going to be 10 weeks before you see real change. In the first month, you're probably going to see the scale go up. At least that's what over the last 15 years we've seen in working with clients. So you have to be patient. You have to put in the work. You can't expect, if you're 50 years old, you can't, in all fairness, expect to undo 3 or 4 decades of becoming who you are today in a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, or 6 weeks, like the lose 20 pounds in 6 weeks, folks. It's not going to happen. You got to give it time. You have to be willing to allow time to run its course. Be consistent. Put forth the effort for enough time to actually see real long-term lifestyle changes, and with them the changes in the mirror that come with it. the next point of that is time. I mentioned the healthy eating to manage heart disease. I mentioned activity to manage heart disease. How much time? What we're seeing in our club, 2 or 3 hours a week of the right exercise. 2 or 3 hours a week of the right exercise accomplishes a couple things. One, it's enough to help you reach in a reasonable amount of time your health, wellness, and weight loss goals. Two, you can actually fit 2 to 3 hours a week into your schedule. If you're a single mom who's got kids, maybe one daughter plays a travel sport, a son plays school football, it's going to be hard for you to find much more than 2 or 3 days a week for around an hour to exercise. So you have to be realistic. And again, if it's the right training, 2 or 3 hours a week produces results. On a monthly basis, 8 to 10 workouts a month. That's doable. Anything more, you're going to set yourself up to fail. The last point, I can tie this back to my salt comments. Just because everybody's saying it doesn't mean it's right, and I don't care who it is. Just because a college professor is still saying things like high protein diets are bad for the liver or kidneys, and all the knucklehead lemmings are nodding in agreement, that doesn't make it right. That's never been right. Show me the data. Jump on PubMed or Medline, Google high protein diets in disease or illness that they create, and you're not going to find it. Just because everybody says that cholesterol in your diet, especially like cholesterol in egg yolks, causes heart disease, and everybody, oh yeah, you can't have the cholesterol. It doesn't work that way, and I don't care how many people you get to nod in agreement, it doesn't make it right. Cardio. Just because most ignorant trainers think the answer to fat loss, the answer to weight loss is more cardio, I don't care how many you get in a room, I don't care how many of them in unison say that, yes, you got to do cardio for fat loss, it doesn't make it right. In fact, we see the exact opposite. I'll give you an example. We had a 20-something-year-old female. In 6 months on her own, she lost 4 pounds on the scale. She was coming in, doing an hour of cardio every day, putzing around on some machines 15 or 20 minutes, averaging 10 hours a week of exercise. 10 hours a week. 6 months working with us and our training staff, she lost about 70 pounds, 3 hours a week. 70 pounds, 3 hours a week. Before that, 10 hours a week, 4 frickin' pounds in 6 months. Okay, so I don't care. Everybody can nod their head, yes, you got to do cardio. It's ridiculous. It's not true. And just because everybody's saying it doesn't mean it's true. Ray Binkowski, author of the book Eat by Color and the brand new Get Fit and Live Healthy, owner of Hybrid Training Gym FitWorks located in DeKalb, Illinois. If you've got questions, ask them. We're happy to answer.